Warm greeting, teacher Luz Eugenia Gonzalez. I'm Carlos Andres Castillo from the program Bachelor's Degree in English. This is curriculum and this is activity lesson plan for 7th grade. Well, my umbrella title or umbrella phrase will be verbs in motion. The activity, what I'm doing. This activity will be focused on verbs following comments given by the teacher. I will be applying this approach called comprehensive input, which consists in providing comments, messages to carry out anything. And it can be a little bit challenging, but we can use the context as a tool to infer and get the meaning, to get through the message clearly. For example, if I'm saying a cell phone, you won't have any clue about it. But if I'm saying a cell phone, oh, you can infer, you can guess, and you can imagine, and you can figure it out the meaning in Spanish. Oh, celular, or for example, picture. But if I say a picture, you start building the meaning in your brain. As I said previously, you learn through the context, using the context as a reference, as a tool. And as you can see in this presentation, the standard is understand clear instructions. When I provide vocabulary, also students will have the opportunity to train their listening because they will have exhaustive explanation about verbs, watching, listening, and using imagery to build a holistic concept when learning listening in English. A- After that, um, they will applying a competence. They will be understanding and responding to the previous information. Of course, they will have flashcards exposing the same information watched previously in the video and listened previously in the video. Of course, the idea is to familiarize with this verse and with this information to apply it in a dynamic activity in the classroom, providing comments, for example, run, sleep. After having that concept in their mindset, they will be able to carry out those actions. And the learning objectives are supported by the Bloom's taxonomy. We have remember verbs in English, comprehend, apply, analyze, assess, and create. Yeah, they will have a holistic explanation which they will be remembering the verse and the information in general. They will be comprehending the information to apply it eventually, and they will be consequently applying that information previously learned. Of course, they will be analyzing how this verb can be used, or what is the meaning, or how should I use this verb. Okay, they will be assessing the effectiveness of verbs when describing common actions or describing verbs, whatever. And they will have the opportunity to create, to be free. For example, after receiving that information, this approach will be an input approach, and they will be applying an output approach, producing what they learned. They learned how to write, they learn how to speak, they learn how to read in English. They will be applying those verbs and eventually applying them in the classroom. So method strategies and approaches for these pedagogical technique are language immersion approach, comprehension approach, input output approach, task based approach. Well, the idea is to incorporate these approaches like the incorporation of their native language. Instead of using Spanish, they will be learning through the context, like when we were babies. And I'm not demonizing speaking Spanish in the classroom, but the idea is to learn English, not simply translating or memorizing words without sense. Moreover, it is crucial to apply this method to learn meaningfully and to, in other words, have a meaningful experience in the classroom. Learning English, not simply repeating, learning. They have the context and they can learn through the context. No matter if they make mistakes, the idea is to make mistakes. You'll learn through the mistakes. And regarding assessment and evaluation criteria, we have formative evaluation and summative evaluation. Regarding formative evaluation, they will have all the resources around, such as video, audio, flashcards. They will have the opportunity to practice whatever they want and this idea. And as a teacher, I will have the opportunity to provide clear feedback when doubts show up in the classroom. And of course, based on those doubts and misunderstanding, I could apply strategies based on students' responses. And regarding summative evaluation, the idea is to recall, uh, collect all that information and perform an assessment to understand why don't learn, grading criteria such as comprehension, accuracy, detail recognition, and etc. And provide a qualification, a mark. So the idea of this approach is providing uh, a real comprehensive approach, which consists not simply memorizing and that's it. The idea is to apply this context, why not, in real life situations. For example, if a student hears mm, um, a remote, probably we you don't know what I'm talking about. But if I'm saying a remote, you have the visual context, which is the remote, and this approach can be absolutely applicable for real life. Anyway, this was my explanation. Thank you.